Good morning, YouTube. Charles, William's older brother, here today, back on the 300. Today is December 31st. What a good way to end the year working on a combine. So, my intentions today are to get the hydraulic mounting base installed in the combine, and all new belts ran. We will not be putting this belt on. I will be explaining in the video why. I'm going to do some change up here and some re-engineering. So that's what we're going to work on, and we're going to bring you along for the ride today. Okay, I was going to take just a minute to show you what I'm doing. These units are raised up in the air and a little bit ornery to work on, so you want to be safe. I have a stairs that's on wheels. We picked this up somewhere and it works great, but the wheels do lock, but just for added safety I wire it to the combine because I have leaned real far on it and it wants to move backwards sometimes, just the sliding of the wheels. The other thing, I normally have a forklift and a big 4x8 platform that I hold up here and work off of in this area right here. Today Wildcat Willie's using that. So I have wired the step ladder to the combine because if I lean over, I don't want it to shoot out that way, that way on me. So work safe. I hate step ladders. Biggest cause of injury are ladders. So we're going to proceed now to change the belts. Before I get into installing belts, these are the three main belts we're going to be working with today. I had notes from 2005 on one of the Massey 300s from Dahlgren. Looks like I bought the combine back then for 350 bucks. Started changing things on it. The governor belt, I wrote that down, so that was helpful on this one. I didn't have to go out, try to find a number. The alternator belt and the A38 is the drive belt for the dust spinner on the side, but I'm going to be changing that up. I'll get to that a little bit in the video. So an A38 is not going to fit. There's some belts I source from other places. Napa has great belts. They're usually a Gates, which is a high quality belt. The governor belt is an XL 7450. The alternator belt is an XL 7560. The hydraulic pump belt, which is going to go right here on the base, I usually source from Agco. I have had success using a India brand belt called a PIX, P-I-X. I have used some of those on the 300s. This belt, you just got to remove so much to get to it. It's probably a Gates belt also, I can't verify that, but there's just some things I don't want to go back and do. So this is a high quality, it's a C belt. There is your part number. It is a 230381M1. A lot of Massey part numbers will end in M1 or M2. This is the hydraulic pump mounting base. This is what I'm going to mount into the combine next. This is where the hydraulic pump mounts. You can see it here. The hydraulic pump is easy to remove, 2 bolts, and slides right out. We'll get to the hydraulic pump later, but what I wanted to show you what we did was I have been wanting to slow down the spinner on the outside that keeps the radiator clean. I don't think it needs to go that fast. I have not had trouble with taking the belt off and not using it in certain conditions. There's certain dusty conditions I'm sure you will need it. I'm going to work on slowing it down. Eventually, I might even try to adapt a 540 non-moving air cleaning system on the side of the combine. But I had this machine down to change the diameter, to try to start slowing it down. It's on a jack shaft system in the combine. I had this machined way down. It was out to here. Cut this in deeper. However, when we did that, we felt that we maybe weakened the inside. I don't know if you can see it there. Right down in there, we welded a ring around the inside to support it and strengthen it. So this is my modification to slow down the air spinner, because the air spinners are getting hard to find. Good ones, you want ones that are balanced and that are not wore out. The dust spins around on the inside of them and wears the screen out, is what happens a lot, or they're damaged and become out of balance, and then they break your mountings on the combine. This is the pulley that would be spinning from the hydraulic pump. This is the idler around it right here, and it goes through there. Somebody's been in here and torched a hole for some reason, so they must have had problems in the past. I'm probably going to change this one's diameter to make it larger. I can only get away with so much unless I make this smaller right here, to start reducing the RPM. When you come to the other side where we were just at, you'll see they brought the shaft through. That's factory. Somebody has been in there and torched it out a little bigger. And they have a pulley here. This is to take up your slack. And then this spins the dust spinner that goes on this whole thing. This thing spins pretty fast. So if you have that out of balance, then you will find that this mounting hardware for all of the shaft is broken. This one is not, so the spinner has been in balance, so that's good. Saves us a lot of work. But I hope to change this maybe someday and see if I can go out here along the edge and incorporate a 540 design cabinet that would probably come all the way out here to this rub rail right here, and that's in the future. First, we're going to get the combine running and clean and thrashing grain. Okay, I have the hydraulic pump base mounted in. I don't have it tightened down because we have to slide it back for the belt tension. And while I was up here, I replaced the alternator belt. Is the first one to go on. So we have the alternator, new Napa belt, Premium XL. It's a perfect fit, perfect replacement. Fits in the grooves perfectly. The next one will be the big hydraulic belt, and then the governor belt. Up here, the governor belt. So I now have the hydraulic pump belt installed. The next one will be to install the governor down to there. Goes around the fan there. This is mounted up. You're gonna need to jam nut this if you ever take this off. This is a J bolt they made. It comes up under there so you can pull the pump back. Pump's gonna go right in here. And this belt is pretty snug, but that's gonna stretch over time. When you put on belts, always remember that you're not finished. You're gonna need to run the machine for a while, and then you're gonna have to go back and check all the tensions on your belt. They're gonna wear in, they're gonna heat up, they're gonna stretch, and as anyone knows, on a combine it's constant maintenance to check things. Once you get them broke in, they're pretty good, and you just have to check them and go forward. Okay, I have the governor belt on, all in good order. To tighten your governor belt, if you don't know, is 2 bolts, 5/16 half-inch nuts, and there's slots. I don't know if you can see them in there on the governor to raise it up. You want to be careful. Do not do a lot of prying on your governor, because this is a aluminum housing. And there'll be more coming in the governor. We have to get this linkage adjusted and different things in here. There'll be more videos later on the governor. But the belts are on today. That's a major step. With the hydraulic pump removed, I will be able now to start the unit again. And as soon as I get some gas plumbed up, and we're going to begin adjusting the governor and the carburetor, things like that. We've got a few things to do, and we'll make videos about those. But so that's pretty good for the day. Might get more done. Oh, one quick note. This is what I was talking about. This is where I had machined that pulley smaller. You can see there is not a lot of room here to increase the diameter of this to slow it down. They have that thing really spinning. I don't know what its RPM is, but I've made this smaller now a little bit without, hopefully that will not weaken. Might be able to go down a ½ an inch here, but the more I pull my hydraulic pump back, you can see old witness marks where the original belt had stretched to right there. The more I pull it back, I'm going to be getting closer to this edge right between here. You can see there's only a finger's width. So that's the limiting factor on this, is about slowing it down. There's just not a lot of room to do that. So my first step, which I've always wanted to do, was machine this down. So we're going to see how that works and go from there. Just a quick recap on the parts that I used today. This is the hydraulic belt. This was the alternator, Napa belt, governor belt. This was the old governor belt. You can see she's old, she's dry. Who knows how long it's been on there. So you want to replace these. They're not that expensive. And there's nothing worse than when it's 100 degrees out, you're wanting to cut wheat, you blow a belt in there by that engine. It's way hotter in that compartment, and you're in there burning your arms and fighting the dust and the sweat rolling down your face, and all you had to do was change it when you're not under pressure. So that's my advice. Take it for what it's worth. But what I was describing is I've been there and done that, and I don't like it. Okay, so I was doing my documentation for the day, wrote down my part numbers I used, the date. Also have this old book I used back in 2005. It just helps you if you ever do more than one. I mean, it was so nice to not have to go out, remove the belts, try to figure it out again. I just went down my 2005 list and ordered my parts. Another thing that is invaluable is make sure and get a parts book. You can get them off of eBay, very reasonable. Has all the part numbers. 99% of the time, the part numbers will work at your Massey dealer. However, there are a few that will either be discontinued, you'll have to come up with another solution, or they will cross over to another Massey number. The parts also on a 540 Massey, which is a newer combine. 540 is basically a 300 in new clothes, if you will. And it is a little wider. It's about the width of a 410, but it's all designed exactly like a 300. Transmission, final drives, everything crosses over. Of course, it has the nice Perkins, I think it's a 318 diesel. So, that is some interesting notes. If you can't find a part, sometimes you might find it on a 540. You may have to modify it a little, but it'll give you your basis.